Let's talk about that half-empty shelf in your pantry. The one you glance at when you're making tea. The one that makes you wonder if you should spend $50 you don't have on bulk beans you know you won't eat. Most people in this situation believe that preparing for a long stretch of no groceries has to be expensive, taste terrible, or take over an entire closet. That is dead wrong. The cheapest, longest-lasting food in your kitchen is something you already throw away. And you can turn it into 2 years of meals for pennies a day, without a freezer, without a generator, and without a second mortgage. Here is the detail I promised you. There is one single ingredient that makes these soup cubes last for 24 months, and it costs less than a newspaper. I will show you exactly what it is in a moment. Before we get into it, hit subscribe. This channel is for people who solve their own problems and aren't looking for permission to do it, and there is new content going up all the time. Now let's get into it. Today we are answering 3 questions. What are you actually storing? How do you make it outlast everything else? And what can you actually cook with it when the power flickers and the stove is cold? Number 1. Stop buying the wrong shelf-stable food. Here is what people do. They walk into a store, see a shiny can that says emergency or survival on the label, and buy it because the packaging looks official. They stack those big number 10 cans in the corner and feel like they have done something. That is not a plan. That is a security blanket made of metal. Those cans expire quietly. The food inside turns to mush or loses every bit of its flavor, and because it tastes like cardboard, you will not eat it. So it sits in the corner until it is so old you are afraid to open it, and then you throw it out and start over. Here is the fix. Take the dried beans and rice you already have in your pantry. Grind them into a coarse flour. Pack that flour into a clean, dry glass jar. That is it. No special equipment, no expensive freeze-dried meals. You can prove this to yourself right now. Walk over to your pantry, pick up one of those fancy emergency cans, and look at the best by date. If that date is older than you remembered, you just proved the system fails. Empty shelf space is a choice. Number 2. Boil stock down to a solid brick. The usual move is to keep bouillon cubes in the pantry or liquid broth in the fridge. It takes up space, and it goes off. Broth turns sour. Powder loses its punch after a year because it absorbs moisture from the air. Here is what happens. You go to make soup and you reach for that half-empty carton of broth in the back of the fridge, and it has a weird smell. So you toss it and use water instead. Your meal is bland, you are disappointed, and you start thinking this whole preparedness thing is a waste of time. The fix is simple. Simmer bones, vegetable scraps, or even just salt and herbs into a concentrated stock. Pour it into an ice cube tray and dehydrate it in a low oven until it is a hard puck. You are left with a brick of concentrated flavor that takes up almost no space. Pull out one of your current bouillon cubes, drop it in hot water and taste it. Then do the same with a homemade puck and notice the difference in density. The homemade one has so much more flavor because there is no water taking up room in the cube. Flavor is fuel. Number 3. Use oxygen absorbers, not just lids. People screw a lid on tight and assume that means sealed. They think a vacuum seal is the same as oxygen removal. It is not. Tight lid keeps out bugs. It does not remove oxygen. And oxygen is what degrades fats and starches, turning them rancid. The food might look fine, but the nutritional value is dropping, and the taste is souring right under that tight lid. Here is the fix. Put a single oxygen absorber packet into each jar before you seal it. You can get them online for about 20 cents each, or you can pull them out of coffee bags and snack packages that use them already. Open a jar you sealed a month ago without an absorber. Smell the contents. That faint, stale smell is exactly what you are trying to stop. Now imagine that smell multiplied over a year. Oxygen is the enemy. Number 4. Cube your meals before you need them. This is where a woman I heard about made it work for herself. Margaret, age 78, had dusty flour all over her hands. She said, "I just didn't want to stand there chopping." She was not lazy, she was practical. The mistake people make is they wait until they are hungry to decide what to cook. Then they stare at raw ingredients, get tired just thinking about it, and eat a sandwich instead of using their stored food. This matters because decision fatigue is real. If the easiest option is a bag of chips, that is what you will reach for. And then your stored food never gets rotated, it sits there getting older, and you have no idea if it is even edible when you truly need it. The fix is to grind your dry beans, rice, and salt together, add dried herbs, and press the mixture into a muffin tin with a little oil. Bake it until it is hard. Those are your soup cubes. 1 cube is a complete meal base, measured and seasoned in advance. No chopping, no measuring, no thinking. Count how many times last week you ate the same 3 things because they were fast. That is the pattern this breaks. A cube is a meal, not a chore. Number 5. Rotate 1 cube out per week. People store food and forget it. They put it in the back of the pantry and then only discover it when they are moving furniture. Here is the problem. Even dried food loses nutritional value over time. The vitamins break down, the fats oxidize, and if you never test it, you have no idea if it is edible when you actually need it. You might be storing a jar of inert calories that taste like dust. The fix is simple. Cook one of your soup cubes every Wednesday. Make it a habit. If it is tasteless, adjust the recipe next time. If it is too salty, add less salt in the next batch. You are not just storing food, you are perfecting a recipe you can rely on. Drop one of your older cubes into boiling water right now. If it falls apart into mush or has no flavor, you just caught a problem before it mattered. Taste tests save your stomach. Number 6. Skip the can opener entirely. You see a lot of emergency kits built around canned goods. The thinking is that cans are sturdy and last a long time. The problem is that they require a tool, and tools can break, get lost, or rust. If the power goes out and you are boiling water over a candle or a camp stove, you can still heat a jar. But if your can opener snaps or the pull tab breaks off, that can is a paperweight. The fix is to only pack food in jars with lids you can unscrew by hand or in bags you can tear. No can opener required, nothing to break, nothing to lose. Take a look at the last can you ate from. Imagine trying to open it with a knife. That is the risk you are running. 2 hands are all you need. Number 7. Label with the month, not the year. Most people write 2026 on the jar. They slap a year on it and call it done. The problem is that 2026 feels far away, so you do not think about it, you do not check it. You do not even look at it until the year changes, and by then you have forgotten what is in there. The fix is to label your jars with the month, January, February, March, all the way through, and use them in that order. When March is empty, you refill it for next year. You are building a cycle, not a museum. Count the number of jars in your pantry right now with no date at all. Those are the ones you will forget first. A date is a plan. Number 8. Store cubes in the coolest dark spot. Here is what people default to. They put their food on top of the fridge, next to the stove, or on a high shelf where the heat collects. The mechanism is simple. Heat speeds up rancidity. For every 10 degrees warmer, the shelf life of dried food drops by half. That means a jar stored near a hot appliance might last 1 year instead of 2. You are losing half your storage life without even knowing it. The fix is to move your jars to the floor of a closet or the bottom shelf of a pantry, away from appliances and out of the sun. I heard about a man who did this. Robert, age 82, stored his jars on the cool concrete floor of a back hallway. He said, "This spot never saw sunlight, not once." That was the smartest thing he did. Put your hand on the top of your fridge right now. That warmth is slowly cooking your food without you knowing. Cool is safe. Number 9. Rehydrate with cold water overnight. Conventional wisdom says you need boiling water. The package instructions always say boil it. The problem is that boiling water takes fuel. If you are conserving a propane tank or a bag of charcoal, you do not want to boil water for 20 minutes just to make a cup of soup. That is a waste of resources. The fix is to soak your cube in cold water in a covered bowl for 8 hours. Just put it in before bed and let it sit. It rehydrates without any heat at all. In the morning, it will be soft enough to eat cold, and if you want it hot, you only need to warm it up for a minute on the stove. Try it tonight. Put a cube in a bowl of cold water before you go to sleep, and check it in the morning. It will be ready to eat. Heat is optional. Number 10. Build a 2-year supply, one jar at a time. This is the mistake that stops most people. They try to do it all at once. They fill a cart with bulk items, blow their monthly budget, and then spend an afternoon sweating over a hot stove. That is a recipe for quitting. You feel it financially and you feel it physically, and then you do not do it again. The fix is to make 2 extra cubes every time you cook. That is it. No special batch day, no massive effort. Just double the recipe when you are already in the kitchen. I heard about a man who did this. Frank, age 73, remembered the rough grain of a mason jar lid. He said, "I just did it while the water boiled. Took no time at all." Count how many times you cook a meal in a week. Double that number. Multiply by 52. Divide by 10, which is how many cubes fit in a jar. That is your yearly total. For most people, it is over 70 jars. Small habits stock the shelf. So the old assumption was wrong. You do not need to spend a fortune or turn your house into a survival bunker. You need to stop buying the wrong food and start using what you already have and rotate it so it never goes to waste. Here is what you can do today. Grind your beans into flour. Cook a test cube. Move your jars to the coolest dark corner you can find. Now I want to ask you something in the comments. What is the one jar in your pantry right now that you are most unsure about? Just the ingredient, no stories. That will give all of us ideas for what to work on next. And in the next video, we are going to talk about how to build a simple one-burner cooking station out of things you already have in the garage. No special gear, no expensive stoves. So subscribe if you have not already, so you catch it when it goes up. You have run your own house for a long time. This is just another way to keep it running.